The world of psychological thrillers rarely delivers something that gets under the skin the way The Beast in Me, the gripping 8-episode limited series streaming now on Netflix, manages to do. And when two powerhouse performers like Claire Danes and Matthew Rhys sit down to unpack the twisted cat-and-mouse world their characters inhabit, you know you're in for revelations that cut deep. From the moment the series opens on a grieving mother whose life has collapsed in on itself, to the shocking finale that even made Claire Danes gasp out loud, this story crawls into the darker corners of human desire, vulnerability, and obsession, and refuses to leave quietly. As Claire Danes explains, she plays an acclaimed author named Aggie, a woman once respected in the world of print journalism, but now struggling to write a single coherent thought after the sudden death of her son. Meanwhile, Matthew Rhys steps into the chillingly enigmatic role of Nile, a man who may or may not be a murderer, depending on whose version of the truth you believe. The chemistry between them, electric, unsettling, and dangerously intimate, forms the backbone of the entire series. When the cast visited the studio, they admitted with half-joking seriousness that the show had the whole office in a chokehold. And honestly, it's not hard to see why. The moment Aggie and Nile meet, the tone shifts into something unmistakably Hitchcockian, a psychological waltz where neither dancer wants to admit who's actually leading. Claire Danes confessed that when she first read the pilot, the show's atmosphere immediately reminded her of classic thrillers, but with a very unusual dynamic at the center of it. This dynamic, of course, is the tension between these two formidable characters who seem to mirror each other's darkest impulses. She describes the relationship as something fresh and alive and surprising, a push-pull connection that's as irresistible as it is unsettling. From the first exchange between them, Nile sizing her up with a mix of arrogance and curiosity, to the moments where Aggie tries to hide her paralyzing grief behind brittle sarcasm, the tension builds with every episode. When Nile throws out a brutal jab about her failing writing career and the loss of her son, and Aggie snaps back with icy warning, it becomes clear that their relationship is a battlefield. As Matthew Rhys puts it, the show thrives on the question, who is the real predator here? Even he wasn't sure at times. According to Rhys, the characters are drawn to each other precisely because they see in one another the qualities they desperately want and deeply fear. He describes it as an ongoing ping-pong game, a dance of attraction and repulsion where each step forward is followed by a dozen steps back. Their connection is magnetic but laced with danger, a seductive psychological trap where neither entirely trusts the other, but both are pulled deeper than they admit. For Claire Danes, playing Aggie was unlike anything she had ever done. She has portrayed emotionally complex women before, but this character is a special type of internal storm, a deeply intellectual, introverted writer whose ambition burns beneath layers of grief, anger, and paralysis. She speaks about how Aggie has been frozen in place, unable to process the death of her son and suffocating inside her own stillness. Then she meets Nile, who, in his own twisted way, jolts her back to life. Suddenly she has something or someone who awakens her appetite both creatively and emotionally. One of the most surprising and talked about scenes in the entire series is, strangely enough, the chicken-eating moment. Matthew Rhys laughed while recalling it, saying he loved it because it was such a shrewd piece of writing. According to him, it told the audience so much about Nile in one bold, visceral move: his lack of fear, his hunger, his dark confidence. He even joked that it was guilt-free eating, something he threw himself into with wholehearted enthusiasm. Not many actors would talk about glistening inside and out during a scene like that, but Rhys does so with mischievous pride. There was even a moment of joking about securing sponsorship from El Pollo Loco, though he admitted he never developed a taste for the chicken feet. But beneath the humor, the show's darkness only deepens, and nothing prepared either actor for the devastating twist buried near the finale. Without giving away every detail, there are moments in the story where the audience, like Aggie herself, begins to wonder if maybe Nile didn't commit the violent acts he's suspected of. The series toys with perception, manipulates sympathy, and forces you to question everything you think you understand. Yet when the truth finally emerges, both actors had visceral responses. Claire Danes recalls reading the script and gasping out loud when the horrifying reveal landed, a moment so brutal and piercing she described it as so awful, yet so wonderful in terms of writing. What shocked her most was where the violent event took place, the exact spot where Aggie had shared her most vulnerable truth with Nile. That act of betrayal cut her emotionally as she read it, proving the writers were not afraid to go as dark as necessary. Matthew Rhys echoed that shock. The cast wasn't privy to all the scripts ahead of time, partially because many weren't written yet. Scenes were unfolding almost in real time, leaving the actors just as uncertain and on edge as the audience would eventually be. When they finally read that pivotal script, Rhys said he had genuinely not ever seen anything like that. To him, it was proof of the writer's boldness, and maybe a little chaos, but above all their brilliance in crafting a psychological blow that would reverberate long after the credits rolled. And then comes the finale. A final image that sparked countless fan theories online and became one of the series' most haunting moments. Britney Snow, who plays a key supporting role, is shown staring at her child, the camera lingering, the silence thick with meaning. The narration echoes, "We turn the page but can't outrun our story. Karma's a mother." It leaves the viewer with a chill that settles deep. When asked what Britney Snow's character might be thinking in that chilling moment, Matthew Rhys delivered an unexpected, darkly humorous answer. "Thank God he looks like me." It's a joke, but it leans into a truth. The child is biologically Aggie's, not Nile's, which drastically changes how the story resonates. That final moment raises unsettling questions about the inheritance of darkness. Are the sins of one generation destined to echo into the next? Are certain traits carried forward whether we want them to be or not? As Rhys explains, nothing in this show is as clean as it appears. The ending is not a neatly wrapped redemption arc. It's a lingering bruise, meant to leave viewers a bit haunted. Every choice, every lie, every trauma has consequences that ripple outward, and the finale makes that brutally clear. For Claire Danes, the lack of tidy resolution is part of what makes the story so powerful. She appreciates that the writers refused to soften the blow or gift the audience with something easy. Instead, they chose honesty. Raw, complicated, unsettling honesty. The kind that sticks with you long after you're done watching. It's the kind of ending that gets under the skin. The kind that makes you look at the world and wonder what darkness people carry behind closed doors. In the end, The Beast in Me is not just a thriller. It's a character study, a meditation on grief, obsession, desire, and the way trauma can shape and misshape human connection. It is equal parts seductive and disturbing, anchored by two phenomenal performances from Claire Danes and Matthew Rhys, whose chemistry is so intense it feels dangerous to watch. Their dynamic is a swirling vortex of vulnerability, manipulation, longing, and threat. A psychological duel where the stakes are nothing less than the characters' very identities. And with its dark, unforgettable ending, the series cements itself as one of the most haunting psychological thrillers Netflix has released in years. Karma, as the final line reminds us, truly is a mother,